Save a little bit of time on the traffic, and this little street here, ladies and gents, that we're just turning left into, this is Great Scotland Yard. This is where the Metropolitan Police Force used to have their headquarters up until 1968. In some of the later Harry Potter films, I go back to Harry Potter, there are scenes where characters enter the Ministry of Magic, and enter the Ministry of Magic through a red telephone box was one way of doing it. And the red telephone box was on this little street that we're just about to drive down. It doesn't actually exist, it was placed here for the filming of that movie. So a lot of filming for the later parts of Harry Potter were done here on this little street, Great Scotland Yard. The red telephone box was just down this little side street on your left. There it was. Oh yeah. Okay then. So in front of us, ladies and gentlemen, we have Trafalgar Square. And Trafalgar Square was laid out in the 1830s to celebrate Lord Nelson's victory at the Battle of Trafalgar. The Battle of Trafalgar was an enormous sea battle that happened in 1805, just off Spain, the southwestern part of Spain. And if you look into the centre of this square, just to your right is Nelson's Column. And at the top of that column is a statue of Lord Nelson, who's a man that's regarded as Britain's greatest naval sea hero, right up there at the top of the column. You can also see, if you look to your right, a very large building on the other side of the square, lit up from the front. That's the National Gallery, the National Gallery of Art. That contains the biggest collection of Western art in Britain. There's a lot of famous paintings in there. Okay folks, well that was Trafalgar Square, and you're going to see in a moment Piccadilly Circus. We're going to turn into Piccadilly Circus. It's the very centre of London's entertainment district. It's the heart of the West End of London, Piccadilly Circus. In front of us is a street called Pall Mall. This street we're about to drive down, Pall Mall. An unusual name for a street. It takes its name from a French ball game called Bal Mal, which was played with a wooden bat and a wooden ball on this land in the late 1600s. Eventually, Pall Mall was given to the name of this street. Just on your right, a statue of a woman holding a lamp, Florence Nightingale, who revolutionised the nursing profession with the first ever training school back in 1859 here in London.
Looks nice.
We've just entered Lower Regent Street. This is Lower Regent Street, and this joins Regent Street, which is a principal shopping street in London, and the lights have just been turned on by Olympic athletes last week. As we get closer and closer to the top, you'll notice it gets brighter and brighter, because you're about to see the enormous electric advertising signs here in Piccadilly Circus that are such a familiar feature. The first electric advertising sign in the world appeared at Piccadilly Circus in 1910. One advert, wasn't very glamorous, a very large illuminated jar of a sticky beef stock called Bovril, which is still available. The adverts have got a little bit more sophisticated over the years. So as we get closer and closer, keep an eye out folks, just coming up here to the right is Piccadilly Circus, the very heart of the West End. So in a lot of the little streets off here, you'll come across some of London's most famous nightclubs, cinemas, restaurants, theatres, jazz bars, cabaret venues, all those places of entertainment. This is Piccadilly, taking its name from the Piccadilly collar, a very fashionable collar that was attached to gentlemen's shirts and worn in the early 1700s. Along Piccadilly we have Fortnum and Masons, another department store. They are the royal grocers. They sell food to the royal family and have done since the late 1800s, just here on your left. They are renowned for their food. Fortnum and Masons, grocers to the royal family by royal appointment. You have to have been serving goods to a senior member of the royal family for 5 years before they issue you with a royal warrant, and then you can stick that next to your company logo. So there's Fortnum and Masons on the left hand side, and a quick look just coming up to your right is Burlington House. This grand building houses the Royal Academy of Art. Through this arch to your right is the Royal Academy of Art, one of the most prestigious art museums in London, and the Burlington Shopping Arcade to your right, 1819. Lots of little independent fashion boutiques down there. As we've come up to the traffic lights, just on the other side of the traffic lights, just ahead of you, on the corner, you'll see a couple of large umbrellas and some people standing underneath. This is a nightclub, it's called Club Aura, and it's quite a famous nightclub. You often get celebrities there having their photographs taken in uncompromising states. And Club Aura used to be really popular for famous British footballers. So you get a lot of glamorous guys, a lot of very glamorous girls queuing up for Club Aura. But there it is. Not many people there yet. It's not open, but it's just there on the corner in front of you. And as we pass Club Aura, well, you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that in the distance there is the Ritz Hotel. And before we get to the Ritz, we see the Wolseley, just here on your left-hand side, on the corner. This is a brasserie restaurant, and the Wolseley is beautiful interiors. It's like a Viennese cafe inside here. And if you want to do a bit of British celebrity spotting, that's a good place to start. The Wolseley on your left. Okay, folks, so this is our very last stop, and we thank you so much for coming on our trip tonight.